is an outrage.
I am pissed off.
I want winners.
What's happening, everybody? This is the Philly Experience Podcast alongside Chris Thacker, Tanner Martin, and Tyre Hood. I'm your host, Max James. It's great to be with everybody today after less than 24 hours after the Super Bowl as Patrick Mahomes gets a job done, beats the San Francisco 49ers 31-20. After being down 10 points in the fourth quarter, he's able to make a comeback, 21 unanswered points. And it seems like the 49ers defense just didn't have an answer for him, slinging balls down the field. It took him a while to get going. We saw the first three quarters. He didn't look like himself. But when it mattered most down the stretch, he was able to answer and deliver for Andy Reid and the Chiefs, their first Super Bowl in a very long time. And I'm sure those Kansas City Chiefs fans are very happy. Listen, guys, I'll start just by saying it was a great game. I thought, obviously last year's wasn't like as entertaining as this year's, definitely. In my opinion,
shut up. He's right.
you got to at least admit this, man. A lot of back and forth, and just the 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and what Patrick Mahomes was able to do in order to deliver for them down the stretch.
The back and forth, I agree with, but let's stop saying that last year wasn't entertaining, because for me, it was entertaining. There was a defensive battle.
If you ask,
I can mute your mic.
Tease the 1%.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, if you ask like majority of the population, they will say that last year's Super Bowl was But this one, I'll tell you what, I think these were the two best teams this year. You could argue Ravens. You could argue the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson had a great season. But in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now. And he proved it last night, showing you why he is. Because I tell you what, throwing those deep ball to Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 15, that was a crazy play.
Let's start with the first quarter. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say, I can get on board with that because, for the first three quarters, I was like, man, San Francisco just had control of the game for those first three quarters. Nick Bosa.
Yo, man.
Is a monster.
Wasn't we talking about that?
That guy's a rook, too.
I knew he was a monster, but just seeing him manhandle, I don't even remember the dude's name.
Hey, listen.
God.
Eric Fisher.
Oh, that guy.
You straight up ain't. All right.
T, I want to see you go out there and try to block Nick Bosa.
I'm not going up against Nick Bosa.
Did you hear that? Man, you were chattering in your teeth there.
Listen. I'm not blocking Nick Bosa, but I'll go up against Eric Fisher any day of the week. All right? Look here. I think I could put Eric Fisher on the ground. But seriously, man, Nick Bosa was whooping all kinds of ass up front. And I challenged Chris this season that he should watch more offensive defensive line play. Let me tell you, it's some of the most entertaining stuff to watch, to see, the motions, everything. I'm telling you. Like, okay, so for the first quarter, it seemed like it was pretty dead even. That pressure was really getting to Patrick Mahomes, which was the one thing that I said to myself. I said, if that pressure can get to Patrick Mahomes, out of all the teams in the NFL that can put pressure on a quarterback, the San Francisco 49ers, with this awesome defensive line, DeForest Buckner and Nick Bosa, they should be able to hit home. If they hit Patrick Mahomes, they get in his face, they mess up his timing, they mess up his rhythm, they can dominate the line of scrimmage. Boom. You got Patrick Mahomes exactly where you want him to, and you cut off the head of the dragon, which is exactly how you got to stop that Chiefs offense. Oh, yeah. And they did exactly that. Now, the issue is apparently, so the second quarter comes in, the defense is still dominating, and apparently, and fellas, help me out with this, because I'm a football person, right? Just help me out with this. Did Kyle Shanahan go to the school of Andy Reid's time management? Seriously, what the heck was that?
He said he would do it again.
Are you kidding me right now? Seriously.
I think that was just a coach who is in a position he's never been in, and he's going, oh my God, what the hell do I do? Oh my God, what the hell do I do?
Call a damn timeout.
Look, man, he's got pressure on him. And I'm not even trying to be facetious here. I think he just broke down under pressure.
My man's burned so much time off the clock, and then to run the football and then use your timeouts? Like, are you kidding me right now?
I'm trying to look at Kyle Shanahan from a very human perspective. I just pictured him looking up and down, like, what do I run? But look, I think that's just all it was.
But sometimes you have to go back to the basics and common sense of football, okay? Use your 2-minute warning as your timeout barometer, all right? Once you get within that barometer, all right, cool. Why did you run the football and then not call a timeout? Why did you allow all that time to elapse I don't understand
See,
that.
you're making good points. I think, in my opinion, this is a lot more about the Chiefs just being great than the 49ers messing up. I think the 10-point lead that they had, they were looking really, really, really good through the first 3 quarters of this game. But Patrick Mahomes,
I hear you.
this is why you don't bet against him. All right?
Nope.
You give him the ball with 7 minutes left, and then he just starts slinging the ball, man. We were waiting for that big play. I was sitting there watching the game. I'm like, he has to make that deep pass. It hasn't happened yet. And he's done it in every single
stupid.
game throughout the postseason.
Yes.
And Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill had a great game, but they didn't have that explosive play until that Tyreek Hill 44-yard catch down the field. And I was waiting for it, and it finally happened.
And it was crazy. So, all right, let's skip the halftime show. We'll talk about that later.
Hey,
Shut up.
Shakir
So-
Sip's still alive.
Shut up. So, third quarter. So now all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes is starting to find himself. He's starting to find his rhythm again. He's starting to make those passes like you were just talking about, those shots down the field, which is necessary for this Chiefs offense. And one of the things that I was talking about with my buddies is the fact that I said if the 49ers can make that Chiefs offense dink and dunk, the 49ers can win. But if they start letting the Chiefs be the Chiefs and they start letting
Exactly.
them hit these 10, 15-yard plays, these big chunk plays, you're not going to beat them.
That's how they've been doing it all season long. They've been doing it that way all season long.
Yes.
We were just waiting for it to happen because you know it's coming. And even if the opportunities are there, if they don't complete the passes, fine. But you know that deep ball is coming.
Yes.
And eventually, I'm going to give a shout out real quick, Damian Williams on the ground
Yes.
and through the air. That controversial touchdown where his foot may have been out of bounds, the ball you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I think they made the right decision by that the call stood, but you couldn't really have a definitive angle of him being in or out of the end zone.
He had 17 rushes for 104 yards.
Wow.
I thought he should have
He
been the
had a solid
MVP.
game.
They
He
gave
did.
the MVP to Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes.
It's usually always the quarterback.
right.
Nah, I don't think Patrick Mahomes deserved it.
No,
I think
don't-
Damian Williams should. I mean, listen, from scrimmage, he had, you said it, Tanner, 100 yards, 104 yards rushing, but he also factored in the passing game a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown when they were just trying to kill clock at the
Yes.
very end of the
Yep.
game, and he just takes it to the house.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. 2 unorthodox
Yeah, they were really
interceptions
bad.
for Patrick Mahomes.
And I believe the interception came after they had just fumbled the ball, too.
Yes.
So
Yep.
it was like the 49ers were
Yep.
meant to get
That
that,
was-
ball
that
back.
yes,
was
Nick
really-
Bosa.
yeah.
Nick Bosa had forced a fumble, and Patrick Mahomes had landed on top
Now,
of it.
let's compare stats real quick. Pat Mahomes went 26 for 42. Threw the ball a decent amount. Usually when you throw the ball that many times, it doesn't end well. And then Jimmy G went 20 for 31, 219 yards. They both had 2 interceptions. Pat had 286 yards, though.
You said Garoppolo had 32 pass attempts?
31.
31 pass attempts. See, that's the thing. Like, and that's another reason why I'm yes, Garoppolo shares some of this loss as to why the 49ers didn't win, but I think Kyle Shanahan needs to shoulder the most of this loss because of the simple fact that your success was built off of the back of your offensive line being able to create holes for these running backs to run through, Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert. So why didn't you go back to what was working? Why did you put the ball in Garoppolo's hands? You
Yeah.
got happy in the second and third quarter when those play action passes were working, but the reason why they were working is because you started chomping off 5, 7, 10 plus yard runs. That's the reason why the play action pass was working. That's the reason why Garoppolo had options one-on-one in coverage. You don't have those options if you take away the run, if you don't run the football.
Right.
And I don't understand why in the fourth quarter you didn't run the football to kind of try to bleed the clock. You kept trying to put it in Garoppolo's hands. Help me out here, fellas.
And even under pressure wise, you were talking about Pat Mahomes was sacked 4 times, Jimmy G only once, but the pressure was always there.
Yes.
And as we've noticed in previous games, and especially in the Seahawks game with the Niners, I think it was the first game, but Jimmy G just, while he's under pressure, just makes stupid throws.
Yes. Yes.
That his first
Bad
interception was
decisions.
really bad.
Just very bad decisions.
And I think Kyle Shanahan did mask a lot of issues that we didn't see out of Jimmy Garoppolo. A lot of issues that we overlooked, which a play action playbook can do that. A strong running game can do that, a la Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. So
Right.
it's completely understandable that, of course, you're going to rely more on your run game. But the part I don't understand is why do you wait till the big game to all of a sudden try to, I guess I don't know what these coaches try to do. They try to throw like a different wrinkle, or they try to throw something different at these teams. I don't understand it. Just stick to what was working.
This is something that's actually heavily discussed a lot with like the really big shows on like FS1, all that. Like Colin Cowherd, he gets into like. Atlanta gets to the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and they play this different game that didn't help.
Right.
That wasn't part of their success in getting there. Same thing with the Seahawks when they also lost to the Patriots. It seems like, and that was another thing why people praise Doug Peterson for being aggressive in the Super Bowl. It seems that,
but that's his game.
You try to throw a curveball on these teams to trick them out. Hey, look at what I can do instead of what I usually do, and. Like, to address the Jimmy Garoppolo thing, in the championship game, he only threw the ball 8 times.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And now he's throwing it 31?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I think there's such a thing as running the ball too much, but...
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. People try... When I say people... coaches will try to just throw this curveball that the other team will expect, but sometimes you just flop on your face. And I think that's all that happened.
See, me personally, I disagree with the fact that you can never run the football too much. I honestly, listen, because this is such a passing league, like everything now is about big plays down the field, passing. And these offensive linemen, they're not big these big 350-pound guys like they used to. They're smaller, they're more agile, they got to work in space, they got to run on screens and things like that.
True.
So when you build an old school type of offensive line, a la the Tennessee Titans, I hate to say this, the Dallas Cowboys, with these big, massive offensive linemen and these big running backs that can create these holes up front, it's a mismatch nightmare for these modern day defenses. Honestly, if I were to build a team right now in the NFL, that's exactly how I would build my team. I want all my fat guys to be 340 plus pounds, no smaller than 6'2".
Yeah,
Straight up.
Definitely agree. I mean, there's so much to break down here. I'll just start with the Niners. I think they ran the ball a total 22 times. That's incorporating those trick plays that I thought Shanahan ran well in the first half. He got Deebo Samuel out in space, a couple of end around plays, and he ran Mostert 12 times, and Tevin Coleman got 5 carries coming off of that nasty injury he had in the NFC title game. So I think, like you said, Chris, with the whole rushing thing, I think game script matters. Green Bay's rushing defense was horrible.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely terrible. And I think last week we all were thinking, okay, let's see or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, let's all see what Derrick Henry can do against the Chiefs front, and they pretty much held him in check. So watching that on tape, Shanahan might be thinking, hey, listen, they just held Derrick Henry in check. Maybe we need to throw the ball a little bit more than we've done in the past. So I think the fact that Garoppolo threw it 31 times, that's a little skewed, because down the stretch and after Mahomes, takes that lead, you have to sling the ball. And he's taken a lot of chances downfield. He did miss Emmanuel Sanders wide open down the field that last play.
He missed Emmanuel Sanders. He also missed George Kittle on a very crucial
and that's actually
pass in the middle.
A player that, if I'm a Niners fan, I want to see a lot more out of, especially during the Super Bowl game. I believe he got the ball 4 times for only 36 yards. And if I'm the Niners, I'm giving the ball to George Kittle. I'm sure he was locked down most of the game. But
Kittle, 4 catches, 36 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did have that one catch, down the field. What was that, end of the first half, or?
Yeah, it was the end of the first half.
That was
against Rich. It was against Rich. No, was it against Richard Sherman?
I just know it was down.
It was offensive pass interference. That much I do.
Yes, I remember that play. I definitely do. And I think the fact that Kyle Shanahan's probably, like you said, going to shoulder a majority of this blame, but I think the defense has to take some responsibility, because they had a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left, and they're the best defense in the league. Everybody said it all season long. They were good. The front 7, and then you have out the D-backs with, starting with Sherman, obviously, who I'll point out didn't have his best game. He did get burned on that one play by Sammy Watkins down the right sideline later on, or late in the game.
Man, Richard Sherman looks like a shell of his former self. Yeah. Like, that's the thing when it comes to those bigger corners and they have those leg injuries and they don't have that foot speed to be able to keep up with.
That's his thing, though. We all know he didn't have the speed anymore. But again, I'll take Sherman on my team any day of the week. He's a true professional.
Now, if you want to talk
but not
about
with that speed.
Professionalism, yes. Yeah. But playability,
it's tough.
now?
It's going against a guy who, first of all, is like 7 years younger. I don't know specifics. Like, I don't know how old Sammy Watkins is, but he's got speed that Sherman just can't keep up with.
Yeah. If you want to talk about being the best cornerback in the league, you got to back it up. And
that's my thing.
He tried. I mean, at least you got to
blown
give him
coverage
credit.
after coverage. Yeah.
He was taking these guys one-on-one.
Oh no,
You
no
know,
doubt.
so-
Yeah,
I'm not. We're not doubting.
I'm not
his-
saying I could go out there and do anything. I'm
Right.
saying that if you're going to talk, you got to back it up.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my whole, and that's y'all know me. That's my motto. If you have enough kahunas to be able to talk the talk, you best have the big kahunas to be able to back up your
Watkins,
talk and be able
26.
to be able to
26.
write the checks that your mouth just cashed. That's all I'm saying. Be able to back up that big talk. And Richard Sherman clearly didn't do it. He's gotten slower.
He still has it though.
He still has
definitely
it.
still has it.
He still has it within 10 yards. But after that 10 yards, that's when he's suspect.
Yeah.
Very suspect. Honestly, I would have exposed that if I were an offensive coordinator. I would have exposed the crap out of that, especially when the 49ers started playing a whole lot of one safety high, and I would have put Tyreek Hill right on top of him. All right, cool. I'm going to put my burn on you. Let's see how you do one-on-one, son. You say you the best corner? Taste this speed. Eat my dust.
Jimmy Garoppolo is getting a lot of heat today, and I've heard rumors already. I mean, we're literally less than 24 hours after this game. I've heard rumors that they're saying they could easily cut Jimmy Garoppolo now and bring in
that's ludicrous.
bring in Tom Brady for a season.
Oh, man, imagine
because
that.
a lot of
What the hell is
people are
going
saying
on?
that down the stretch. Last night that Brady being in there would have made such a bigger impact than
Brady
Garoppolo. But
stunk this year.
I know.
Could you imagine
There's
though?
no way that's
I
right.
think people are saying that if you take the last 6-7 minutes of that game and it's in Brady's hands instead of Garoppolo when they need to have that comeback, people are sitting here and saying, obviously they'd rather have Brady in that situation.
And do those people realize that Brady's not the same
I know.
quarterback that
I
he
agree.
once was?
And I was really confused because I know they just signed Garoppolo to that massive contract, but apparently a lot of the money is not guaranteed. So if they cut him, it's not costing them a lot of money.
Well, I think Garoppolo's staying put, but could you
agree.
imagine Tom Brady gets Garoppolo out of he's off the Patriots and now he's
now he gets him
he's
kicked.
leading his own team and now he goes over there to San Francisco and
That would
takes
be
his
sick.
job.
Yeah, how big of a how big if there's a rematch of this last year? How crazy would it be if Brady's on the Niners, Mahomes with the Chiefs?
Oh my goodness.
That would be something crazy.
But,
Because
let's-
listen, these two teams can easily go back.
Yeah.
I mean, look
Yeah,
at
they
their
can.
rosters.
The Chiefs, they were always so close and now they finally have done it because the Patriots were out of the way.
Yep.
It was
Can we say
well deserved.
Can we say that the Kansas City Chiefs are the new king of the AFC?
I don't think so. I think but you got to remember the
not
Ravens
yet.
had a great season. I know the way it ended, it makes you forget about how great Lamar Jackson was this season because how badly
Yeah,
the Ravens played as a whole against
Yeah.
the Titans, right?
Yeah.
They
A lot
really
of teams
played
were on
bad.
the come up this season.
Yes,
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah,
We'll
lot
see,
AFC
but I
teams.
don't think you could just hand it to him. I think Lamar Jackson only being just turning 23 years
Mm-hmm.
old now. If he can improve as a passer over the next couple seasons, it's definitely going to be a fun, maybe like a little mini rivalry starting.
I agree.
Ben Roethlisberger's still the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
True.
23.
Yeah, but true. But he ain't the same quarterback
Yeah.
that he was.
I don't know how many years we got left to see in
I was
him,
about
but-
to say you ain't got that many years left to
All right,
watch.
Let's
be
talk
honest
more
with
about Pat Mahomes and what he did. Winning MVP last season. And now a Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. He's going to be on the top for the next few years.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with what Max said. He's the best quarterback right now. Best quarterback.
And I think most importantly, we can finally put the rest. Well, no, not really. We can't really put the rest. The Madden curse. He did not have a good game.
Yeah, but hey,
at least
if
he
that's
didn't
a
get
curse,
injured or-
Yeah.
if a curse is winning the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, I'll be okay with getting
true.
that curse.
Yeah, that's true. But he did not have his best game. Like I said before, I don't think he should have gotten the Super Bowl MVP.
No.
I think that should have been Damian Williams.
I've never seen a running back play so poorly. And Tanner, we've all kind of followed fantasy a little bit. Damian Williams had a horrible fantasy season, and down the stretch here in the postseason,
Yeah, don't
he's just
remind
been-
me.
Yeah, he was great, and the
God.
bell cow, 17 carries, like you said, 104 yards. He really just took charge. Mahomes actually carried the ball 9 times for 29 yards and a touchdown there. And I'll tell you what, low key, Tyreek Hill, when you look at the game. Other than that 44-yard pass, he had catches, obviously, but that 44-yard catch was his biggest of the game. And he actually had 9 catches and 105 yards.
Yep.
Which, when I saw the stat line, I was like, he had 105 yards?
Yes, he did.
That's pretty incredible. And Sammy Watkins also had 98 yards on 5
Because
catches.
he got his yardage off of those 10, 15-plus yard plays that started opening up for the Chiefs during the second and third quarter, which was the part that I said, better start. We're looking out for. But
That was a turning point. That
was.
pass to Tyreek Hill because look, after that you just saw Mahomes. It looked something changed, right?
Yes.
Now he's starting to sling it. He hits He hits Travis Kelce for that quick touchdown. Gets the ball right back after the 3 and out. Then he hits Damian Williams with that that screen touchdown coming out of the backfield. And then just like that, it's like, there's that lead. It's disappeared.
It was a huge turning point, and it was also a turning. And the 49ers, like I said, Kyle Shanahan did not adapt to the situation because when you're up 10 points, why are you still throwing the football? If anything, I understand that, for the most part, your running backs have been kept in check, but running the football still takes time off the clock. And I understand the mantra of, you're playing not to lose. That's that mantra. I understand all that.
Yeah.
But your strength as a team has been running the football. So why go away from it? Why are you putting Garoppolo in a situation that he's never been in before, and he wasn't asked to be in this situation throughout the entire season?
Yeah, it is really, really. When you sit back and think about it, I really thought that they would run Mostert, especially because of how great he played against Green Bay.
220 plus yards.
I know. One name we haven't even mentioned, who I thought was going to be a factor, because it's been like a 3-headed rotation, and we haven't even mentioned Matt Breida, who didn't even play yesterday, getting a snap, and he was pretty good for them. I know he had some fumbling issues during the regular season, but he didn't get an opportunity. I don't think he played much during the postseason in general. So I think one thing I will say about this, Tevin Coleman, he had a really good season, and I really think that injury that against Green Bay kind of factored into his snap count probably in the Super Bowl. But I really think if he not that it would have made a difference in the winner, but I think if he was a little bit healthier, so to speak, that maybe they would have ran the ball a little bit more and maybe trusted him. Maybe it would have been a little bit more skewed as far as maybe Mostert wouldn't have had as many carries as he did. That would have been, because I know they're two different runners.
They
one
are
out of the backfield, and one's more of a bruiser like Mostert is. But
I mean, they are, no doubt. But I don't think.
I'm just trying to think of ways coming from what you're saying as far as why did they stop or why didn't they run the ball as much. I'm trying to think of why maybe that was. Like, did Shanahan not want to give Mostert like 20 carries because he's never done it this year? For example,
but the kid ran for over 220 yards last game.
Different team.
And on top of that, I think the kid looks like he can handle a 15, 20 plus carry load. Seems like it to me. I'm just saying. And even still, this is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something that most people only dream of.
Yeah.
Why not take all the chances?
Yep.
I do want to say Garoppolo just flat out outplayed Mahomes for the first 3 quarters of this game.
did,
I mean, he was efficient. He was making really good decisions. I mean, I know he had the one bad pick, but for the most part, he's making really good decisions. But T, I know you're an old school kind of guy. Defense wins championships type, run the football. But I'll tell you what, Mahomes, to me, watching him last season or two, it's starting to look like, man, maybe if you have Mahomes gunslinging the ball, he only needed 7 minutes, and just like that, with a snap of his fingers, he's got the lead, and they win by 11 points.
And that's true.
I think now offensive firepower could be the new thing in the NFL. Going forward.
Offensive firepower has always been the biggest thing in the NFL because now,
when you try to win the big game, a lot of people will say if you have the best defense, you don't really need obviously the best offense. But if you do enough offensively, you can win the game. I think San Fran played a pretty good game offensively, but even though they had the best defense, Mahomes was too much to overcome.
Now, yes, Mahomes was too much to overcome. Yes, that offense was too much to overcome, but when does it come to a point where we say to ourselves, well, what did the other side of the offense do? Did they do their job in preventing and helping their defense out? Because that's the biggest thing. If you go 3 and out, your offense,
I know, the 3 and out is tough. Yeah,
your defense just got off the field.
I know.
Against this powerful offense in which most of these guys are fast. These guys are quick on their feet. You don't know where they're going. You got to watch Patrick Mahomes because he's always ready to run. Then you got the fastest receiver in the NFL in Tyreek Hill. You got a really good receiver in Sammy Watkins. You got the best tight end in the NFL in Travis Kelce. And then you just get off the field. Your offense goes onto the field. You try to catch a breather, and your offense goes 3 and out. You don't even get a chance to catch a breather.
That's the thing about defenses. The offenses usually never run out of breath, but the defense is constantly, if the offense stays out there longer than obviously 3 and out and they start moving the football down the field, the defense is totally going to get gassed.
Yes.
Obviously, by the 4th quarter, I think that's kind of what happened. The Nick Bosa and that Niners defense were kind of just like, listen, we're trying to hold on here. We've held them to 10 points through 3.5 quarters. And I'm thinking, here, listen, 20-10, Garoppolo has the Niners with a 10-point lead, and he's given the defense. The defense just has to step up. There are 7 minutes left. We know it's best defense in the NFL. Best defense in the NFL, hands down, all season long. And I just feel like that when it mattered most, they just didn't step up. And I know it's Mahomes, but the people who are throwing shade at Garoppolo today, I get it. That last drive, last 2 drives actually weren't the best, and he was missing
Agreed.
a lot of passes, and he missed Emmanuel Sanders. But I just feel like anybody who's throwing shade at Garoppolo today, you have to turn around and look at the defense.
Yeah. I agree with that. I would put them up there just as much as Garoppolo, but I still say Kyle Shanahan shoulders most of this. That horrible time management at the end of the first half, and the fact that you didn't put the ball on the ground and play to your strength offensively.
Can I ask you guys something? What did you think at the end of the first half, that pass interference call on George Kittle? Did you guys think that was soft? Because I looked at that a couple times. I'm like,
Chris, I think
really?
everything
Really?
done. I think everything done in the NFL
that
is
was
soft. Let's be honest here.
That was a polite shove, if anything.
I'll tell you what, if they hit that field goal to make it 13-10
Sick.
going into halftime, and they're getting the ball to start the second half, it is.
that
I
makes
agree with you.
it a
That's
lot
different.
more interesting game, especially for the 49ers.
It does.
But I just thought that was such a soft call, especially in the Super Bowl. But I don't know.
Biggest game, yeah.
Just how it is these days, I
understand.
guess.
Yeah, I mean, you saw George Kittle's reaction to that. He's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know why to your point, I don't know why Kyle Shanahan, in general, he did get away from the run, but I thought he started to become more like getting away from his, I don't want to call it trick plays, but a little misdirection, a little reverse. We saw, like I mentioned earlier with Samuel, with those misdirections, and he's taken it. He's run. He had 33 carries and he had 53 yards. He also added 5 catches for 39 yards as well. So he was kind of doing it all. And I realized that earlier in the game. I was like, okay, Deebo Samuel looks like he could be a big factor in this game script.
Yeah.
And he was early.
Yeah,
and I
he
feel
was.
like as the game went on, I think Shanahan was like, all right, I've ran a few trick plays. I ran a few misdirection plays. He kind of stopped.
It's almost
You know?
like he played all of his big cards all at once.
Yeah, and
then
then
he did have
Garoppolo-
nothing to go back to.
Exactly, and then you look and Garoppolo's thrown the ball 31 times. It's like, oh, okay, like Garoppolo throwing the ball 31 times isn't going to get you a W. You know, and like you mentioned, they got away from their strength. They didn't run the ball a lot, and I think that's what they should have done because one, it worked for some parts of the game. You know, the rushing
did.
attack worked for parts of the game, and when you're up 20-10 with 7 minutes left,
Milk the clock.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's
Milk the doggone clock.
everything is so much more highlighted in situations like this. You know, I'm sure if we go back and look at the regular season, there's times where this pops up and it's like, oh, why didn't Sean McVay milk the clock? You know what I mean? But
Right.
stuff like that might not matter because at the time maybe they're not in contention for the playoffs and people
Right.
don't, shine a light bulb on it. But this one, in the biggest game of them all,
Yes.
every little thing matters.
Yes, like I understand you're not up by a huge margin like you're used to, but now you just got to play a little tighter. And when you play a little tighter, yes, everything that you do, your decisions, they mean that much more. They're that much more important. So, all that being said, for me, and I understand, like I said, he's a play caller offensively, so he's in charge of everything offensive. And he's a head coach, so he's probably got 1,000 things going through that headset of his. And I completely understand that. I've never been in a position of a head coach. But sometimes you just got to have common sense, son. Just run the damn ball.
See,
Why?
I think that if that happened, this game may have turned out much differently, just based on the simple fact that when you're going up against a guy like Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league, like I said, in my opinion,
Keep
the
him off
fastest
the
receiver,
field.
fastest receiver in the league, in Tyreek Hill, and it's a toss up between Kittle, Kelsey. Pick your poison. They're both right there, neck and neck, in my opinion. But I mean, when you're going up against that much firepower, you almost can't make even the Cincinnati. I know they have a great team, but you almost can't make any mistakes. You almost have to play like an almost perfect game because at the end of the day, now that I'm realizing, especially Mahomes putting together that crazy last 7 minutes there of
Yeah.
the game, for future reference, if you play against Kansas City, you better have a complete game because
You have
Mahomes will
to.
take advantage of any opportunity.
And he's proved
And he can
it.
flip the field just like that. We've seen it.
He's proved it 3 times in this playoff series.
Tyreek Hill, and I know
Each
Texans,
and
Titans,
every
and
single
Super Bowl, obviously.
game they played in the playoffs, they've come back from the margin. You are absolutely correct. You want to beat the Chiefs, you better play all 4 quarters, and you better not take your foot off the gas.
And it's a perfect example. Even if you play 3.5 great quarters, it's still not enough.
Nope.
You have to finish because Mahomes is something else. I mean, I know we're all pretty young, obviously, so we're not talking back in the day and great quarterbacks people around the country or the world have seen. But for me, I've never seen a guy that can be down 10 points with 7 minutes left, and it's like everybody in the stadium, everybody watching at home, especially me, are like, okay, like the Chiefs still have a really good shot of winning this football game.
Yep. We grew up watching the guys like Peyton Manning do it and Tom Brady do it. You know, Roethlisberger did it.
But somebody that can just saying throw it like 90 yards. I mean,
Right.
just like that.
And then the way he's able to kind of change the angle
I've never
of
seen anything.
his throws. And I'm just like, dude, he is not human.
Yeah.
He's not. it's
I
not
mean,
fair.
listen, for example, watching the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl a few years back, I had no confidence at all. I know it's Tom Brady, but I'm like, man, there's too much to overcome. I mean, it's 28-3. There's no way the Patriots come back. This one, I'm like, this one, and then no, obviously the Patriots did come back, but this game, I'm like, I think I saw some stat, the San Fran had like a 96% chance to win the game at some point, and I'm like, the Chiefs have a 96% chance to win. I mean, they got Mahomes.
Damn bums.
You said that all the Falcons fans listening to us just turned off our show.
Yes, they did.
But I just
Sorry
want,
about that,
I
Falcons
just want to
fans.
touch on a few things before we transition. It was most, everyone on the Chiefs, most of them, it was their first Super Bowl. But I also want to say that it's Wisniewski's. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Yes, he is.
And
Yeah, he's on that.
Yes, he
and
is.
also, going off of that, LaShawn McCoy, running back for the Chiefs, didn't play in a lot of the games, but now technically a Super Bowl champion. What do you think about that? Do you think do you think he deserves to be called a Super Bowl champion?
I mean, he was on the team.
He's on
so
the team.
It's still going to
It
be part
just
of his
adds to
resume.
his-
So
his
I
legacy
mean,
as he
it
would.
don't matter what he did or didn't do. He got a ring.
He
Every,
did. Yeah.
every team in every sport who has players that ride pine, they all
Like you
they
guys,
all get a ring.
like you guys attacked Carson Wentz for being injured
You know
when
what?
the Eagles won, but it's still going to go down on his
Facts
resume.
are
that he
facts,
has a
my
ring.
dude.
Like when the Patriots
start with
won,
me.
Josh Gordon's now a Super Bowl champion.
You piece of Swiss cheese.
But also, LaShawn McCoy talks about coming back to the Eagles before he retires. He's been in the league 10 seasons, over 11,000 rushing yards, 6-time Pro Bowler. What do you think about him coming back?
I think that would be awesome. And the fact that
If
he
it's
even,
realistic.
coming back to play or coming back to retire.
Both.
He
Play-
said he wants to come back, so.
Play, hell no. Retire, sure, absolutely. I don't need a LaShawn McCoy. What's up with these microphones up in this piece?
No, anyway, but no. I mean, I would hope he would be considerate and have like a team-friendly deal. I know not a lot of professional athletes have a mindset quite like that, but if he came here on a team-friendly deal and was like, you know what, I'll play a Jason Peters role. I'll give Miles Sanders my P's and Q's, and I don't know.
He's 31
try to
years
help him
old.
out. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying to you?
I feel like he could do what Darren Sproles wanted to do better.
Yeah. And I'm still not out on us getting rid of Jordan Howard.
No,
I would love us to bring him. I would love us to bring him back.
I want Jordan Howard to stick around in Philly for a while.
I would love us to bring him back. Like seriously, like Jordan Howard's the perfect compliment
When
to Miles Sanders.
when he was playing, he was, in my opinion, the most consistent Eagle.
I'm back on.
What the heck is going on?
I apologize for the
Since you
microphone.
mentioned Miles Sanders, and
What's he here for?
I was almost sure he was going to be maybe offensive rookie of the year, but he only got 1 vote. And also, now Kyler Murray is
Yo.
the offensive rookie of the year. Kind of came out of
How the
nowhere.
heck did that
Really?
overrated midget get rookie of the year?
I
I'm sorry.
understand his stats
Was that
played a
a
big
little-
part.
I just want to kind of pat myself on the back because you know what? Before the football season started, I said to you, you know what? Kyler Murray does not impress me, and and even you looked at me and you're like, Chris, did you watch him in college? And
know.
Yeah, that's
not
college.
a whole lot.
I'm sorry.
That's college. And hey, I just kind of feel a little bit great for myself. Hey, I don't think Kyler Murray ain't nothing.
I apologize. I
Call up Oakland. Go
I was
play
a
some
little too
baseball.
angry with my statement, but seriously,
I mean,
how
come on, the
heck did he win
Cardinals,
that? Come on, man.
I am pissed off.
He's got a QB rating of 87.4%. He passed for almost 4,000 yards this season, 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That to me is not really offensive rookie of the year stats.
No, it's
I
not.
think if Miles Sanders put together a complete season,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it would have been a different story. He had an amazing last 5-6 weeks of
But
the year.
shouldn't that make that even more incredible? The fact that he mostly got his yards during the second half of the
Yeah,
season,
I know, but it's a season
compared to
award.
guys
It's-
like Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, but Josh Jacobs only misses the last, 2 games? And then I think he's
I
more
think he was a better-
more for it than Kyler Murray.
I agree with that. Like, I'd have been even more satisfied if Josh Jacobs would have won.
Yeah.
But seriously, Kyler Murray got Offensive Rookie of the
No,
Year?
I think
Come
Josh
on, man.
Jacobs was more deserving
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
than Kyler Murray.
than Kyler Murray was.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I know.
I hear you.
I mean, listen, Oakland wasn't really great at last year either, but I mean, come on, Cardinals weren't either.
Man,
You know,
seriously.
I wanted to mention something before the microphone went out for a little bit for me when you guys were talking Eagles. Just watching those two teams last night and having to think about the Eagles. I'm just like, it is. That's a perfect response because it really is laughable. I mean, we're so far away.
They couldn't be on the field with either of those teams.
I've never seen a team. I've never seen
Not
a
even
team
close.
like how we were so complete 2 years ago and go from that to just being so just unorganized
Yeah,
as a whole.
Don't
Yeah.
you dare say what I know you're about to say.
Because listen, San Fran
Mr.
had
I knew it 2020
Take.
vision.
a San Fran solid QB, good rushing attack. They got playmakers on the outside. They got a great tight end. They got a great defense as a whole, just like we had. And now, even last year and now 2 years later, we're sitting here and we're like, we need this, we need that, we need this.
We know it's hard.
So I'm just sitting here thinking to ourselves, like, football's way different than like basketball, for example, because there's so many more players. But I mean, we all can throw out our own ideas about how to turn this thing around, and whoever wants to start can. As first things first. But I'm just going to sit here and say, Wentz. At least we have a franchise quarterback.
You do?
And everything
Injury
else,
prone.
and everything else
What
around
did you
it.
just say?
I said who's injury prone.
I don't know.
There's always what Chris says because still he still didn't prove that he isn't injury prone, and we were looking at this year for him to prove that he can do it. He can take control under center and really take over this team, but there's just that injury aspect of Carson Wentz.
Look, I'm not blaming Carson Wentz for getting hit in the head. Of
course
the
not.
Seattle Seahawks.
And I mean, in our opinion,
I'm going to need all y'all to do me a real quick favor.
Stay off the weed.
Please.
Before we go
Say,
too
hold on,
far, yeah.
Go ahead, Tanner.
Since we were talking about who's the most to blame for this 49ers loss, we already, we picked apart the team. Now, just which player or coach is most to blame, or side, defense or offense?
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan, Max?
Defense, I think.
Chris, how about you?
Who's most to blame?
Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan, defense.
Man, I mean, I gotta go with Kyle Shanahan because he's the one calling the shots. And look,
They had
I
a
know, I know,
10-point
I
lead
know-
with 7 minutes left.
Dude, I mean,
Garoppolo
I know
had
it's not
him.
a whole game. I know it's not
him
a
up.
whole game, but man, the 49ers were getting to Patrick Mahomes, and I know he got sacked 4 times, and there was pressure on him pretty much the whole game. I'm having a hard time blaming the 49ers defense.
Max, you said
because hey, a defense can only do so much if your offense doesn't give you anything.
Max, you said it last week that you can't stop Patrick Mahomes. You can only help to contain him. They contained him. The defense was doing their job. So
They contained them for 3.5 quarters when they had 10
That's
points.
fine.
And then you look up 2 seconds later, they had 31.
And with
Hey,
8
why-
minutes left in the game, all the offense had to do was run the damn clock out.
That and
No guarantee they could have done that,
why?
though.
No guarantee, but even if you chop off 3 minutes running 3 straight plays to go 3 and out, at least you chopped off 3 minutes.
I'm one of those guys that plays to win. I don't play not to
If
lose.
I'm Nick Bosa, I'm
And
kicking
then-
Kyle Shanahan, and I'm saying, where is my 20-point lead? Where's
And then-
my 30-point lead?
And then how about this? How about when it's 4th down, how about Kyle Shanahan pulls off a Mike Vrabel and milks more clock?
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, you're putting way too much stock into him, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, look,
Am I making too much common sense?
He was quaking in his boots, like you said. He ran all his stuff early, and he was like, "Oh God, I don't know what to do."
It's ridiculous.
All I'm
It's
saying.
Kyle Shanahan's fault.
I still think it's. I mean, listen, Shanahan is not out of the water here.
And I'm not-
He's part of the reason why.
And I'm also not saying that Jimmy Garoppolo shouldn't shoulder some of this blame because I think he does. Like I said, very crucial 3rd down pass. If he would have hit George Kittle right over the
You
middle,
have to have
boom.
expectations for Jimmy G. He's not the reason you win the game. He's not going to be the reason you win a game.
No, he's only
just
the
not.
quarterback.
And
Your
hence-
defense has to win the game. You have to make good, and again, Shanahan, you have to make good play calls and you have to make good decisions. Can't turn the football over.
But the most crucial part of the game was in the hands of the offense and who's in charge of the offense. Kyle Shanahan.
He made a couple of bad decisions as far as not milking the clock.
Mm-hmm.
But
And it turned out wrong decision. Like I said, you could have ran
Mahomes,
it.
yeah, I agree. Mahomes did get the ball back way too quickly.
You could have ran it 3 straight times, pulled off a Mike Vrabel, milked probably a good another after those 3 minutes, maybe milked another 2.5, 3 minutes. Boom, that's 6 minutes right there. We're at the 2 minute warning.
But even if Mahomes is Mahomes, he could
You are
easily
correct.
give you that 45-yard bomb that we saw to Tyreek Hill.
And you get no argument out of me. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but he would have been Patrick Mahomes under more pressure. With the added pressure that my defense was already putting on him from the pass rush.
I don't know. Listen, and again,
I'm on board with that.
We've sat here and we've criticized why the Chiefs won. And when I first started the show, I said, listen, it's more about the Chiefs being great than it is the Niners screwing up. I mean, it's Mahomes. I've seen this before, and I'm not going forward over the years. He's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
Every game I watch Mahomes the rest of my life, I'm going to be like, man, you just saw what that guy did with 7 minutes left? You know what I mean? Like, he's
Oh,
just,
no doubt.
he's something
Yeah.
I've never seen before.
Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to be a pain in the rear end for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
And we can probably say right now that he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
Hands down.
Stamp it.
No argument. You didn't get no argument from me out of that. All I'm saying is the best way to defeat Patrick Mahomes and that high-octane offense is to keep them off the field. The same way teams used to do Tom Brady.
I think the most simple way we could say this is, like we've mentioned before, you have to play 4 quarters.
Yep.
You have to play 4 quarters. We can sit here and nitpick and point fingers at why this guy did this, or why this guy did that. Why did the defense do this? Why didn't the offense throw this pass? But as a whole, you got to play a complete 4 quarters of football. And the fact of the matter is, the San Francisco Niners last night didn't do it.
Yep.
And that's the reason why
Bar
they lost.
none.
They tried. I mean, listen, give them credit. They tried. I know if you're a Niner fan out there, you're like, we tried our best. If I'm a Niner fan today, I'm like, listen, what do you want us to do?
Oh, absolutely. Hold your head high.
It's not like they Garoppolo threw 3 picks down the stretch. I mean, listen,
No.
that last play of the game, come on, you don't count that interception. He's just trying to make a play.
Yeah.
He's just trying to make a play down the middle. I mean, what he really did was probably he went 20 of 31. You could easily say he went 20 of 25 or 20 of 25.
I mean, he basically threw up a duck and just said, screw it. But,
Exactly. Well, yeah, but again, he's trying to make something
Yeah, so I ain't
happen
mad
down
at
the
him.
stretch.
Like I said, 49ers fans, they have nothing to be disappointed about.
I agree. It was a fun Super Bowl. It was good. I had a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was
100% way better than last year.
Hey! You know what? I'm going to slap.
entertaining.
Now let's go have a ham sandwich.
I didn't think it was going to turn out that way. Watching the first 3 quarters of the game, I was like, oh man, because I'm sitting there kind of rooting for the Chiefs, hoping I'm not against Andy Reid. I don't know why people out there were kind of hating on Andy Reid. I know he didn't win anything here.
Yeah, I don't understand
but,
that either.
I'm sitting there like, oh, it'd be nice to see Andy Reid win one. And I love Mahomes. Just watching him play, he's such a great player, and it's so fun to watch. I'm sitting there like, all right, Niners had the lead, and it doesn't seem like the Chiefs have any chance here. And I'll tell you what, when the clock went 0-0, I was like, wow,
That was a great game.
performance from Mahomes down the stretch.
Yes, it
Something
was.
crazy.
It was awesome.
Going into the offseason now, it's going to suck not having a lot to talk about football-wise. I know the draft's coming up in the free agency. We'll get into it in the weeks to come. But this season, if you look back on it, to wrap this season up, a lot of fun. Mahomes, the injury. I mean, listen, Chiefs might not even been here with Mahomes' injury with his knee. I mean, dislocated. It was like off the side of his leg.
Oh,
I mean, it was nasty. And you're thinking, okay, well, there goes the Chiefs season. Lamar Jackson coming out of nowhere with his ridiculous amount of touchdowns.
You still have the Sean Watson of the Texans, man. And
The
that
Bills
high
were a
octane
surprise
offense.
this year.
The Bills were a nice little surprise. Man,
The Saints, again, just not being able to get the job done when it matters most. Another great regular season. They can't beat the Vikings at home. Vikings, who I thought, I don't think they're ever going to win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins, but they had a good season. So it was a lot of fun this year. I mean, you just think back on it, us being football fans. I think it was a great season.
I don't think any team that has Kirk Cousins is going to win a Super Bowl, but that's just me personally.
I agree. All right, let's roll some Sixers here. We got 10 minutes ish left. The first thing before I know everybody has their opinions on this, but can I just point out the home and road splits? I mean, absolutely ridiculous home and road splits. We're 22-2 at home. We're 9-7 on the road, right? I mean, I know the home court advantage definitely, but when we're sitting here losing to teams on the road like the Hawks the other night, I mean, that just can't happen. I know you don't have Josh Richardson, and I know he's a good player and a big part of what we do. But it's you had Embiid, you had Simmons.
You don't need Richardson. We beat the Lakers without Richardson.
Yep.
And again, that's a home game.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I just don't understand how well they play at home. And then when they go away, they play like absolute crap.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and we discussed this
An
before.
ugly game against the Celtics.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I was so PO'd. At that game. Why did Al Horford get posterized? But that's besides the point. So, apparently, most of our players were at the Super Bowl last night. And then they played Miami tonight. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm not very confident tonight. I'm just not.
I'm not confident either. You know why? Because they have Jimmy Butler now and we don't.
Besides the fact,
And listen to this. I was just doing, when you guys were wrapping up your discussion, I was doing some calculations, and Ben Simmons seems to disappear in the fourth quarter, and he has only around 22 total points in the fourth quarter.
It's way different, right?
Total
we're 31
points.
and 19 overall right now.
I'm so close. I'm serious, Tanner. I know.
Don't say it.
I'm ready.
You pulling the plug
I'm
on?
almost ready to be like Ben Simmons. You know what? Just straight up.
You know, it's understandable. Because
I'm
where's the
sorry.
shot? Where's the shot?
Yes. Where is this jump shot that you supposedly been working on? That
It's back in July.
You know, all the videos that's been going viral, and we were up in here right in our same spots in this booth. Tanner, you were hype. Max, you were hype. I'm just like, you know what? Screw you guys, because I don't see it on the doggone court. And here it is. Now we're in February, and we've arrived at the same issue that I kept bringing up. It's one thing to make shots in practice. Do it in an actual game. He means absolutely. It is so irritating to have him walk that ball up the court, and everybody is in the paint.
Yeah, who do you think could they get to mentor Ben Simmons?
Somebody who can shoot.
Well,
Okay.
all right. Well,
I'm sorry.
Who do you think needs to be that person to really take time with Ben Simmons and practice that shot?
listen, I'm going to come to Ben Simmons' defense here because I don't think Ben Simmons is the reason why we suck on the road and we're 31 and 19 when we can easily have
that's ludicrous.
6 more wins. And here's why: the man is averaging 36 minutes a night. The guy plays every single game. All right, he's not Embiid. Right, he's not a big baby who's going to sit out. I know the hand injury, I get it. But listen, load management, that doesn't come into Ben Simmons' mind, right? He plays every single game. He plays great defense, and he brings it to the
Bunch
floor.
of lowlifes.
He's never lazy out there. I never see him make any
But do you
lazy
understand what
plays.
I'm saying about who? There's really no experience on this team.
There's not.
There's no experience. Like, we
As far
got
as making a
JJ
deep run.
Redick's not on the team anymore, and we're talking about giving Ben Simmons some, mentorship, and there's really no one there.
Yeah, but JJ Redick didn't tell Ben Simmons to shoot. Apparently, didn't tell him to shoot the ball.
And Jimmy Butler was there at least to push Ben to shoot the ball more.
Jimmy, and I want to add another thing here. Ben Simmons plays the most. He's averaging 36 minutes a night. 2 more than the second next guy, which is Tobias Harris. I mean, he's started 48 games this season. He's played in 48, obviously. Embiid's only playing 34. It's starting to come down to, can Simmons and Embiid play together? In my opinion, you start to
understand what I'm saying
question.
to you?
You start to question, can Embiid and Simmons play together? And in my opinion, if you had to get rid of one of them today, I'm getting rid of Embiid.
What?
This team needs
What?
to.
What?
Wow.
I'm trading
I don't
Embiid.
ever want to hear that
Speaking of
ever
I'm
again.
trading Embiid.
When's
I
the
don't
deadline?
ever want to hear
Listen.
that.
Yo,
When's the deadline?
Shut your
Speaking
yap.
of
This
trades.
Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yeah, so we've heard talks of Rocco coming back.
Getting rid of
Is
Embiid?
that
I think you have to.
Is there a better player than Rocco to come back on this team? I know there's plenty of better players, but do you think there's a player that fits more? I think he makes sense to come back in a trade, but they're talking about 2 first-rounders.
my thing is.
Oh, man.
My thing
2
is,
first
I don't know if we can
rounders
get through
for
all this
Covington.
in 12 minutes, but we'll try. We'll try.
My thing is Robert Covington isn't the scorer the consistent scorer that you need. That's the thing. Robert
I mean, if you
Covington-
don't have anything, at least you get him.
that's true, but he's
Listen,
still
listen,
an inconsistent scorer.
Let me
And that's
can
my
I just
thing.
say a few things, and then you guys, I know we all have different opinions, but you guys can chime in here. I just want to start by saying this: we're 6th in the Eastern Conference right now. Not a single thing has gone on this season that
It's
makes
ridiculous.
me think. Listen, we have a shot to win the NBA title, which is what we've wanted for the past. We've sat through the process to win the NBA championship. Right now, there's 5 teams ahead of us, and I haven't seen a damn thing that looks like the Sixers could get out of the. I mean,
I
they
want
might
to
not
see
even get out of the
people
first
rip their
round.
heart out of their f***ing chest.
Thank you.
If you look at this team as this trade deadline approaches, Tanner, Robert Covington's not going to make any difference to this team.
Someone has to. There has to be a
I think
change.
he could add to the bench.
Yeah, but listen, it's
Right.
the
That's-
goal of
this
this
is my
thing
exact point.
is to, if we say we bring Robert Covington at the trade deadline, for example, I'm still thinking, you know what, we could lose in the first round.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
do we
but-
really want to give any assets we have left, which is very few anyway,
Yeah,
and
but
bring
Max,
in Covington?
you're talking about getting rid of Joel Embiid. Then what?
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
for the
then what?
future.
What do you
That's
do?
my thing.
Hear me
Who's
out.
gonna be
This
your
is what I'm
big man
saying.
if you get rid of
I'm gonna
Embiid?
say this. I'm not saying let's trade Embiid today. What I'm trying to do is think towards the future. And what I see is this: Kawhi leaves the Raptors. They're still 36-14. They've won 11 straight games. The Celtics, yeah, we've beaten them 3 times this year. But look where they're at compared to us in the standings. So yeah, we may not watch every other team, every other game, every other night, whatever it is. But there needs to be a reason. There's a reason? Is it GM? Is it coaching? The way the other teams in our conference, in our division specifically, build their teams up. Why aren't we matching those teams? Right? I think Embiid, the fact that he doesn't play, he only might play 50 games out of the 82 a season. Right? If you're lucky, you get 60, maybe 65 at the most. But the fact of the matter is, the rest of his career, he's missing a dozen, maybe 20 games, depending on the injury situation, right? That's a guarantee, right? You're not getting that with Ben Simmons. He will play every single night, and he will give 110% effort. I see Embiid getting lazy out there half the time.
Whoa. Did you just say Ben Simmons gives 100?
He gives 100. Listen, I know he doesn't shoot the basketball, but I don't factor that into the effort category. He steps it up every single night defensively, and he is aggressive as hell. I know he hasn't shot the ball well. I know he hasn't shot it.
Ben Simmons aggressive?
He gets to the basket at ease in transition every single time.
Watching?
No one has stopped him.
All right. If we try to play GM here, let's listen to some of the players that are on the trade block. You got Andre Iguodala, Rocco, we already talked about. You got players like Marcus Morris and his brother. You got Jay Crowder, Dedmon, Rose. There's not really a player that you really like, oh, let's go out and get him.
I want to make myself clear about this. I'm not saying let's get rid of Embiid. Only reason I'm speculating this in my head is because a lot of people are starting to say Embiid and Simmons cannot play together. Would I much rather get rid of any other player? Do I want to get an Embiid? No. He's probably, you could argue, our best player on our team. But what I'm saying is the fact that we have Ben Simmons, and today if I have to pick one, I think if Ben Simmons, you never know in 2 years, can he be able to shoot the basketball? And if he does, he could be a top 5, top 10 player in the league. Right? I don't think Embiid will ever get to, just based on one, his position, one, his injury history and the games he misses, etc. And the list goes on and on. I'd much rather get rid of so many other players on this team. Al Horford would be the first guy because he has some value, right? You're not going to get rid of like Neto or anybody like that because they have no value. But if you want to gather some assets such as draft picks or try to get some other older vets.
If you're looking for that, it'd be like a Tobias Harris.
You bring up good points to the fact that why you
the contract situation too, Tanner. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
Harris is getting paid $180 million to be an okay, solid player.
Exactly.
But you're paying him to be that Jimmy Butler type of guy, and he hasn't.
But here's the thing: I'm also paying Ben Simmons as well. And here's the thing: even though Embiid, yes, he does get hurt often. Yes, you're probably only going to play him a little over 50 games a season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look at the impact Embiid has on the court when he is there. Okay, look at the double teams that he commands. Look at the space that he commands. Look at how much the defense improves when he's out there. Where compared to Ben Simmons, every single time he brings the ball up the court, everybody's in the damn paint because he refuses to shoot the damn ball.
I feel that irritation, T, because honestly, before the season started, there were so many things that people said were going to change, and they haven't. Embiid said he was going to be such a more healthy player. Simmons was going to work on that shot. Brett Brown was going to be a better coach.
That is blasphemous.
Exactly. Exactly. Once again, we're looking at this team like, what do we need to change instead of, all right, let's, the trade deadline's coming up, and what can we do to better improve the team?
We may have given Brett Brown 1 year too much.
Yeah, it's too late now. I feel like
you ride him out to the end of the season, but I think
now we have to.
Because even still, we talk about what players we're going to get rid of, but here's the thing: they're still not being put in a position that suits the players that they have. They really should be a mid-range shooting team. They really should be playing bully ball because they're bigger than than most of the opposition.
I want to.
This team is soft.
I want to point this out.
Agreed.
That some of this heat has to fall on Elton Brand as well. I'm sitting here looking at the contracts he's given out. Like we've already mentioned, Harris is $180 million. Al Horford's $107 million contract for 4 years at age 33. I think is kind of ridiculous. And then look at the benches around the NBA. Toronto, a great bench. Boston, a great bench. Milwaukee, a great bench. You know what Elton Brand got the Sixers this offseason? Let me just read some of these names out to you. He got. We kept Jonah Bolden, who I haven't even seen play a damn game. He's played 4 of them. I don't remember any of them. Kyle O'Quinn.
I agree
he brings in, right? He brings in Raul Neto, right? Keeps Mike Scott around. Keeps James Ennis around. He grabs Trey Burke. He keeps Shake Milton around. I mean, look at these names for our bench. I mean, I think we've gotten more production out of Norvel Pell, who barely even made the team, over like 3 or 4 other guys that we actually signed to contracts for a few $1 million. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. The couple bad contracts he signed to give these players. And the fact that he brought in about 5 bench pieces that haven't done jack, in my opinion, a bunch of low lifes. I feel like Alton Brand has to take some of this heat here. He really does.
I mean, come on, Shake Milton's a great name.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, let's talk also about a player that really struggled on this team, and then now we're seeing he's playing all right. That's Markelle Fultz. Why couldn't he play on the Sixers? Why couldn't he do
Coaching.
that? Yeah.
It has to be coaching. I do want to point out another name, Tanner, if you mentioned that. Furkan Korkmaz has had a nice season so far. Shoots the three at a pretty solid rate. He's shooting, where's he shooting here from downtown? 38% from downtown. So, we'll see what happens. I'm sure there'll be a lot of more heated discussions throughout the upcoming weeks with the season of NFL now behind us. But, it's
Are
been
you
a
upset
fun...
that football season's done, T?
Yeah, I'm a little pissed.
Hey, the XFL. The XFL.
All right, T, let's shut it down.
All right, T.
You guys listening to this episode, this very angry episode, you can always go to Philly-experience.simplecast.com. We are available on all major platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, New, Pandora. So,
Nice.
let's get it.
And congrats to Andy Reid.
Now let's
Let's just go. It's going to be a depressing off season.
No, you're not gonna play. Okay.
No.
You dumbass.
We know it's hard.
Take me out, coach.
Was that like a wise ass comment? Let's go have a ham sandwich.